In the years before its popularity skyrocketed, minimalism would be scoffed at as basic and unappealing. But just look at it now. Many indie and AAA developers make minimalism one of their core project guidelines, hoping gamers' reaction will be as positive as the reception was for minimalistic games like that game company's Journey in Flower. Phosphine Systems is one developer that has attempted to do just that with FRACT OSC, a first-person puzzle game where the player manipulates the components of music itself. FRACT begins with you landing on a platform in a semi-dark world filled with areas that have giant lock icons on them. I'll admit, it's not until I finished the first of several puzzles within puzzles that I figured out what these areas really were. More on that later. Once you interact with the main game portal, which took me a while to find, you are transported to the actual world of FRACT. Once you arrive, figuring out what to do and where to go is totally up to the player. Other than learning how to interact with and solve the puzzles that advance you in the game, the developers left it to the players to set out on the basic premise of the game, explore, interact with, and rebuild the sound-based world around them. What do I mean by sound-based? This is the truly beautiful part of the game that sets it apart from other games to me. Throughout the parts I managed to play, every puzzle involves producing sound either by shifting sound blocks or by routing circuits to power giant synthesizers that are then used to allow the sound wave to pass. My favourite one is where the synthesizer you manipulate controls a set of gate doors that must be synced up just right to allow you to pass under them when they rise. Don't worry though, no need to restart from a save point if you get smashed or fall into the endless abyss, since respawning is free and inconsequential. The synthesizer controls are simple, just a set of columns where you must select one row per column, but the catch is you need to figure out which row controls which gate. The order of the columns corresponds to the order and timing of when each gate door is activated and rises. Each row corresponds to a specific sound, and each gate door opens when the sound wave hits it from a row of stereos behind the synthesizer you use. Solving each of these puzzles builds up to getting access to a higher, which I assume to be final area. I write assume because at the time of writing this review I was not able to finish all 3 areas in the game. However, each area with its own colour scheme, blue, magenta and green, is distinctly vibrant, enhanced by FRACT's simple but beautiful graphics. Despite the occasional moments of not knowing where to go next, or for that matter where to start in the first place, the controls of FRACT make figuring those out fairly intuitive. The movement of your mouse serves as the game's camera control, with the outline of the circle helpfully saying that is where you're looking or going to move the camera to. The arrow keys or WASD control movement. Holding down the spacebar allows you to run. Interacting with the sound puzzles is simple, just a matter of click and or drag. Of course, being a game about music, the music is the main attraction, accentuated by the gameplay that allows you to manipulate it. As mentioned earlier, you control and make sounds and music by interacting with the world. Do you remember when I mentioned the outside of the main game areas? Well, whenever you finish one of the circuit synthesizer puzzles I detailed earlier, there is an alert banner across the top of the screen which indicates that one of the studios in the outside of the main game area, called the studio, is unlocked. As these areas' name indicates, the studio allows you to put together your own customizable music through in-game unlockable features and mixtures. Almost every aspect of the sounds you combine into music can be manipulated through 3 sets of tools. First, 3 synths, each controlled by lead, bass and pad controls respectively. Second, a step sequencer used to write the passages that the synth plays, and each passage is made up of steps. Third, a pattern sequencer used to arrange the patterns into compositions that the synths will play, and also can be used to choose which parts of your song are being played, looping, what plays next and how the song plays. You can even export and upload your recordings and songs to YouTube. Other than the studio options that might extend it, had I been able to finish the game all the way through, I would approximate the total gameplay time to be around 4 to 5 hours in my case. In terms of replay value, unless you hate trying to redo a puzzle you've forgotten about, FRACT ranks pretty high in my book, with each puzzle captivating me with its deceptive simplicity while simultaneously confusing and frustrating me, even when the same theme is repeated throughout the circuit synthesizer puzzles. In short, FRACT OSC embodies the motivation behind music making itself, exploring and expressing yourself through sound while occasionally stumbling and getting lost along the way, but nevertheless making your work of art in the end. I give FRACT OSC an 8 out of 10.